So we've set a bit of context into how and why B2B marketers utilize LinkedIn in their marketing efforts and why it's an integral part of their digital marketing mix. I'm going to talk a little bit about some LinkedIn basics, such as optimizing your profile. And in fact, there's only around 50% of users in LinkedIn have 100% completed their profiles, which is a small number, sort of which maybe would indicate some opportunities there for people with optimized profiles. And on LinkedIn, the way it works is you have a personal profile, which is information about your professional life, like previous employment, your skills, your education, and so on. But you can also have a business profile, and this business profile is obviously about your company history, your contact details, and so on. And this company profile has to be managed from a personal profile. Um, and according to LinkedIn, 100% completed profile means thoughtfully and carefully filling out every single field and section that LinkedIn perhaps should have filled out, and there's a lot of them. But the main reason for doing that is quite compelling. LinkedIn says that if 100% completed profile enables you to rank higher in LinkedIn search results, and millions of people are using LinkedIn search on a daily basis to look for people to recruit, to look for people that provide a certain service, to look for companies and so on. So, from that perspective, it really does make sense to have an optimized profile. So, how do you optimize your profile, or why should you optimize your profile? And one of the key things to think about is your LinkedIn profile, personal profile, not as an online CV, but as an inbound marketing tool because of that search element to LinkedIn. It's where you can showcase your expertise and be discovered by those people looking for a particular service or looking to recruit somebody. And if you optimize your profile correctly, there's obviously a greater chance of visibility in these types of searches. And most businesses implement search engine optimization or SEO techniques to try and get their websites to appear high or as high as possible on Google search results pages, and this sort of process is no different. People search on LinkedIn on a daily basis, and if your profile isn't optimized, you are missing that opportunity. So as well as that, having an optimized personal profile allows you to communicate that value proposition, whether it's you or your company's value proposition. Because if somebody finds your profile via a search, so somebody types in cybersecurity and you pop up in the search results because you're a cybersecurity expert, they should be able to click on your profile and see that that's your value proposition. You keep businesses' information online secure. Or likewise, if you have engaged a company and are maybe quoting them, or you're having a sales meeting and they visit your profile, they should immediately see that you're an expert on cybersecurity, which establishes credibility. It communicates that unique selling point or that value proposition right away, and it builds value for your company. So some of the key reasons to make sure your personal and business profile, I suppose, are optimized. So some tips on optimizing your personal profile. And one of the key things is to make your first visual impression count by displaying an optimized professional photo. LinkedIn isn't really the place for casual snapshots at the beach or on nights out or things like that. You do need to have a more sort of professional profile photo here, and try and use a high quality sort of well lit headshot that the people can actually see. It's not dark and so on. And a lot of people have went for this sort of white background so that they can stand out. Try and keep it a square, so at least 300 pixels by 300 pixels. Otherwise, it can get a little bit pixelated and blurry and so on desktops. So a professional photo is very important. Again, we're going to talk about value proposition, and you can see there in this example, Neil Patel's his background image, or sometimes called a cover photo or a skin. He has communicated what he can do for potential prospects. Cut off because it's a mobile version, but you can also see want more traffic and the various services that he provides, so SEO, content marketing, PPC, and so on. And it also has his orange branding and different variations. So it's very engaging, and it clearly communicates his value proposition. And be creative with these. There's a tool called Canva, canva.com. And it's a great tool for designing LinkedIn cover photos. They have the right dimensions there, the right template there for you to use. The dimensions are 1,536 pixels wide by 768 pixels high. So those are the right dimensions, but Canva have that all pre-programmed where you can go in and create a LinkedIn cover photo, and you don't need any design skills. But what I would try and do is keep it branded, and communicate your value proposition. Put your logo on it or the people that you've worked with as well, and that can really help you with your personal profile. You can also create a vanity URL, and this is really sort of a unique URL to your LinkedIn profile. So it could be linkedin.com/Declan Murda marketing or any other type of keyword that you can put in. And it just allows people to easily find you and you to easily link and hyperlink links to your personal profile. Some other tips then as well. So I would recommend an attention grabbing headline. The example here, we have Max Menk, one of the global leaders in commercialization, and he clearly states in his headline there, you can see it, founding partner at GrowthX. I help companies and startups and countries commercialize innovation and get products to market. So a very clear statement of intent as to what he does and what he can do for you in that headline, and that is where the headline is, just below your name. Again, he's also put in founding partner, which adds a little bit of credibility, whether there's one person in the business or 500, that sort of founding partner adds that sort of element of credibility. And your headline is highly visible on your profile, but it's also searchable. So put keywords in there like commercialize innovation and products to market, startups, countries, companies. So he has clearly thought out his headline. I'd also make sure and add some personality into your summary or your about section on your LinkedIn profile. That sort of really helps you stand out from the crowd. Write about things about like what motivates you, maybe the journey that you've been on, tell people about your accomplishments, and give people an idea of what it is or what it would be like to work with you. And of course, you also need to complete maybe the less glamorous sections such as education, experience, and so on, but try and keep those as compelling as possible too, and give people a real insight into what it is that you studied or what it is you actually did at your previous role. And some last sort of tips on your personal profile. So on LinkedIn, you can get endorsements and recommendations from people that you have worked with or colleagues or so on. So people can endorse you for a certain skill, and that does improve your profile ranking, if you want to call it that. You can also add your skills and accomplishments and courses that you've studied and fill all those out as well. And one thing I've mentioned quite a bit is this notion of keywords and keeping keywords in your profile and in your headlines and in your education and so on, because all these keywords rank towards the LinkedIn searches. So try and keep the keywords relevant to what it is you do. And what you can do there is maybe use your industry knowledge to know what people call your role or the types of services that people will be searching for on LinkedIn and put those throughout your profile. But you can also use tools like Ubersuggest. That's Ubersuggest, UBER, and then the word suggest, or Google Keyword Planner, where you can search for keywords and phrases and discover how many times they are actually searched online on a monthly basis. And they'll also give you other suggestions of keywords that you could potentially use which relate to that as well. So these, it's almost a keyword optimization task as well here. And lastly, we have this sort of declaration of war on buzzwords, and these are things that have creeped up over the last few years on LinkedIn, where people tend to use the same cliche words like motivated and passionate and dedicated and responsible and so on, which we don't really mean a whole lot, and are very general. And what I would say is try and use words that are sort of more specific to your industry and more sort of meaningful words, and also words that are searchable as well.